1.18 changes everything about how Minecraft worlds generate. Every single aspect of the world generation algorithm has been tweaked in some way to fit the new terrain generation, and this can be as small as widening the rivers, making them easier to traverse by boat, or whether it's adding these stony shores as a gap between the water and the mainland, ensuring that you can find ores where that perfect point meets. There are so many tips about how they've changed existing things, but that's before we mention that there are 14 brand new biomes added in this update. Yes, you can count those, and you might know from looking at it that, like, yeah, the Lush Cave is great for finding axolotls, and obviously the Frozen Peaks is a great place to find snowier snow, but each of these biomes has something that's a little special to them that you're really going to want to know as a survival player. And so, hello, I'm ABX3Cat, welcome to a video. Today I'm going to be going through the secrets that each of these biomes is hiding from you behind the surface. So we're going to start with the Stoney Peaks biome, because although a lot of people find it to be the most boring of all the new biome types, by the way, this is a seed that has all of those pretty close to spawn, the Stoney Peaks is one of my favorites of the new mountains, and let me tell you why it should be your favorite too. Because it looks like it is just a mountain that's covered in stone, and the reason it generates is because it's a warmer climate biome compared to the Snowy Peaks and the Jagged Peaks, which of course look very much covered in the snow. But the great thing about this being covered in stone is that all ore blocks can generate on the surface. You can get direct access to coal, iron, and even, if you're lucky, some emerald blocks, which honestly, mining emeralds instead of trading is not the smarter way to get it, but if you just hate villager trading, or let's say you have a silk touch pickaxe, you can specifically get the emerald ore block in a way we haven't been able to do before this update. But other than that, there is also wonderful access to calcite, another block that has been very rare before this update. It will generate in huge quantities on the surface in the Stoney Peaks biome. It is truly wonderful. The only thing more wonderful is the kind of secret of this biome, because although it is covered in stone and there's no natural life in sight, the truth is this is one of the best places to terraform into natural biomes. I know, I take a lot of mountains with grass on, I take it off, but let me assure you it is worth putting grass onto this biome, because look at the delightful color of green that grass is right here. If you don't know, the grass block is the same block regardless of where you place it, but it does have a different tint depending on the biome. The best color is usually considered to be jungle or shattered savanna. The worst color is probably the regular savanna or a desert, or even these birch forests are pretty anemic. I love the color of the grass on these Stoney Peaks, and I really feel like if you want to build a flat area or you want to have a grassy area, build it onto a mountain. Or if you want to be really fun, why not just cover the entire side of this mountain in grass, removing the benefits of it being a Stoney Peaks, besides obviously taking the ores with you. But yeah, you can do whatever you want with that. My point here is just to say, I love the color of the grass, and it's one of those things you won't ever realize because there's no grass up here, but it's great. And that is obviously before we talk about leaves, which also have the exact same tint to them. Personally, I find this to be one of the loveliest shades of green, especially when compared to the second biome I wanted to talk about. So this is the Frozen Peaks biome, and honestly, on the surface, this seems like one of the more useless new biomes in terms of the survival player, because of course you can get great access to packed ice, which is a nice block, but I mean, you already have icebergs for that. Sure, you can get great access to snow blocks, the actual blocks themselves, unlike usually you have to get snow and then combine it yourself. That actually can be quite wonderful if you're looking for that. However, these aren't really secrets. Those are things that are straight in your face. The only things that are slightly secret about this biome, you could argue, are the fact that it only spawns goats here, no other passive mobs. And in case you're curious as to like, oh, does that mean no hostile mobs? No, you still do get hostile mobs, which is actually where my point for this comes in, because there is two weird things about this biome that you wouldn't expect to be true that are true anyway. First of all, is the fact that despite being a frozen biome, and even the caves are frozen in this area, which I think is a really cool little fun fact you might not be aware of if you never spend time here, but despite being a chilly, frozen biome, it doesn't have two of the very key hallmark traits of an area that looks like this. The first of which is that if we set the time to be midnight, you're going to notice how all of a sudden, mobs will spawn, and maybe some skeletons, including, of course, those weird frozen skeletons, right? The strays, except no, as you can tell from this skeleton, which spawned right here and is being very impolite to me, this is actually regular skeleton territory. Why is it regular skeletons instead of strays? That is an interesting question. I mean, I guess you could argue strays are just for the snowy plains tigers. You know, like, you can make the argument that they're actually not for all the frozen biomes, but still, it's not what you would expect, which means also, if you flatten this out and you put some trees here and etc., you could have the weird fact of being a frozen biome that looks like it should spawn strays, but doesn't. It's a weird thing. The other weird thing is the fact that if we do turn on rain, obviously, this is a cold biome, so instead of raining, it snows. But as you can see, this tree is not activating with winter mode. It does still have these very, very interesting, you know, kind of colors to it, which I think it's not my cup of tea, but again, it's a new color type because it's a new biome. But as you can see, it is not turning white like it should in Bedrock and eventually will in Java, which is interesting because it is snowing. It is in a wintry climate. It's in a biome where there should be a white tree, and yet where is the white, I ask you? I guess the answer to the question, where's the white, could be easily answered by going to the Jagged Peaks, which are these things right here. This is a really interesting biome because what you probably think of as this biome when you look at it is actually a combination of two biomes, the snowy slopes and the Jagged Peaks. The Jagged Peaks are actually these bits right here, and although they are covered in a lot of snow, which seems like a bad thing for mining, and it's a bad thing for mining visibility, I guess, it's a really, really good thing in terms of, okay, access to ores. But if you look at a map of the ore distribution, you can see that the iron ore and the emerald ore just increase the higher up you go, and this is Minecraft's tallest biome now. It can go all the way up to 256 blocks. It can't go beyond, sadly, even with the new height limit. But it goes all the way up to 256 blocks, which is great. It's wonderful. It means you have access to so many good things. And then also, the other wonderful thing about this is even though it's covered in snow, it does not contain any snowier snow. Some people are thinking about bringing leather boots around them everywhere. This is one of those common pro tips because powdered snow, also known as snowy snow, obviously can make you fall through it and it's a nightmare. But I want to convince you today as to why you don't need these, leather boots, even when you're about to fall into some snow. And let me show you why that is, because if we go down one of these slopes, this is actually into a grove biome right here, but the grove can contain powdered snow as well. This is a way to make it harder to climb up the mountain. I'm in some powdered snow, about to meet my demise, but let me tell you why this is a good thing. I'm trapped under a whole mountain of snow right now, but as long as I know I'm surrounded on all 4 blocks this way, you can now make a secret entrance into your base that's entirely natural. The game literally generates this secret entrance for you that now we can dig out if we want to. Again, I'm not sure why we're not getting blocks in exchange for this. Minecraft broke at some point during the recording of this video, but now we can mine out, from this, make our own little secret base. Also, because of that, we're going to be able to get access to some extra ores because we're super high up. So even while you're excavating your base, you're getting some extra fun things. And yeah, no one is ever going to know where this base is because there is no clue that it's out here. All you have to do if you want to get out is put on some boots and then swim your way out there. And I don't know what just happened there, but it's very strange. And so yeah, if you look at that, I'm like, this... Okay, it's a little bit buggy. Again, there's clearly a bug fix needed in the update. But all you need to know for now is that leather boots sound like a great idea, but honestly, I'm not going to recommend them. I'm going to say, don't be doing that. I think I'm drowning right now. I think the game is actually going to manage to kill me. Yep, okay. Don't do what I just said. I lied. That's how you die. Okay, so where I just died was a grove biome, as you can see right here. Again, it's freezing me from a concerning distance right now. I'm flying in creative. How am I getting frozen from here? So this is a grove biome you're looking at right here. It's absolutely delightful when it's not freezing you. And when it doesn't have the trees on, it's called these snowy slopes. Ooh, all of Minecraft is not like... It doesn't want me to share the secrets, but I'm going to do it anyway. This right here is a snowy slopes biome. It goes up to it can go up to a Jagged Peaks, it can go up to any of the types of biomes, and it's very, very wonderful. This right here is a pillager outpost, which can generate any of the 5 mountain types I've told you about so far. It's really, really cool to see because it means that as a result of these new mountains, when you explore them, you are more likely to find pillager outposts. This one has no villagers, pillagers I should say, for some reason, but that means you still have access to the lovely chest with its... Oh, we can't open the chest either. But you have access to the chest with its wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pillager crossbow. And it's like a regular crossbow, but you know you stole it, and so it feels better. And so there's only one other brand new biome, mountain biome I should talk about, but before we move on to the other brand new biomes that are all so exciting, maybe. So unlike the snowy slopes and the grove, which are kind of like a connection between the mainland and the mountains, the meadow is kind of meant to be that, but also kind of just sometimes is one of Minecraft's weirdest and sometimes buggiest looking biome. It is covered in flowers, not just the cornflowers and the oxeye daisies. See, I mixed them together right there. But also, it's an opportunity to get all sorts of other flowers. I'll list them on screen right now, because obviously flower getting is important for dye. There is more blue dye in this one biome than you'll ever need anywhere else. Also, you probably know about this biome for the achievement, the Sound of Music, very fun and very cute. But also you should know about this biome because it's one of the highest elevations you can find villagers at. This whole biome is eligible to spawn villagers in, which is really nice. And the other thing you should know this biome for is that, just like how you can only find goats on the mountains, and on the mountain slopes you can find rabbits, and that's now a new great place to find those because rabbit leather is so useful now, right? But the other thing is that you can also use this biome to find donkeys. That's right, if you want to make mules, or even if you just want donkeys by themselves, it can be really frustrating knowing that 90% of horses that spawn in are horses, as opposed to donkeys, in the plains and savanna biomes. But if you, just plains biomes I should say, but if you go to this meadow biome, every single donkey that spawns in will be a donkey. Why is it donkeys exclusively? I'm guessing someone on the dev team was annoyed by this exact problem and wanted a way to find donkeys, but it's really, really, really cool to find and to solve and to see, and so now you know that is a cool little change. And so now you know where to get your hands on more flowers than a human being can do anything with. For real, I thought the biome was broken. I thought this was like a custom biome. Nope, this is what meadows look like. I think they've got some beauty to them. I'm not seeing any mobs spawning because my Minecraft is broken. So instead, look at these bees and we can say, oh, there's more bees here too. Look at the baby bees. Aren't they cute? Isn't this the size of a baby bee in real life? I think you'll find it is. By the way, speaking of new biomes, I feel like I need to mention, because although they technically did add 14 brand new biomes with this update, it's a little bit misleading. I mean, for instance, the Stone Shore being renamed to the Stony Shore makes everyone exactly aware of the fact that it is very much an old biome that's just been renamed. Except this biome has actually been expanded. It's now very different, it's much more useful than before, and honestly it adds to the terrain generation a lot. Whereas if we look at the other biomes, which seem like they'd been deleted and then entirely re-added under a different name, let me show you those compared to some old versions and you can tell me what you think of them. Because the Windswept Hills, for example, look suspiciously similar to the old generation, with the exception being that sometimes they'll generate an extra 20 blocks or so higher. This is actually one of the most unique Windswept Hills I've ever seen, it has to be said. Because the old growth pine taiga, for example, is just the mega taiga biome that you used to know. It's got the boulders, it's got the big, too thick 2x2 trees of spruce, and then it's got these, slightly different looking trees, because there are two types of these big old trees. There's these very leafy ones and there's the tall ones, but it's everything that you know already, just under a different name. Can we argue it's a new biome? I'm gonna say the secret of this biome, this new biome, is the fact that it's not a new biome whatsoever. The same thing goes for the Windswept Savanna. The Windswept Savanna is just mountains that generate in a savanna biome, and they're basically the same. On Bedrock, they have the fun distinction of sometimes being about 20 blocks higher, but as you can see, it's that that modified savanna biome that you know and you love. Again, I think it's actually even almost downgraded because I feel like the grass isn't quite as perfect as before. Anyway, so if you look at that, it's basically the same biome. Same with when we look at the Windswept Hills. When you picture Windswept Hills, you're thinking, ooh, what can that be? And the answer is one of Minecraft's saddest biomes, because I hate this thing so much. It's the gravel-covered extreme hills, or mountain, or whatever you want to call it. They had a lot of names for this over the time. This is a brand new biome, but is it really? Are you excited to see this as much as you're excited to see whatever that is? That actually is very cool. I am excited to look over there. But as you can see, it's like, I mean, it's cool to see gravel in a place where it can fall down and do some stuff. And when you add in the new cave generation, there are some really cool formations here. But can we really put that down to the Windswept Hills? The answer is you have to kind of work this one out for yourself. All of these 6 biomes right here are actually kind of existing biomes. I mean, the sparse jungle is a jungle edge. It's a little bit more sparse now. It's still got same great grass, but it's not really something brand new. And so that's why I wanted to move straight into the cave biomes, because again, I think we could talk about existing biomes all day, every day. We could do a secrets of every biome and show you all of the weird things you might not have known about each biome, but I would rather talk about brand new ones, because Dripstone is now a block that generates naturally and not just few weird blocks by itself, and actually generates in fucking huge cave in some cases. So the Dripstone biome is definitely the less interesting of the two brand new cave biomes in terms of visual appearance, because you come here for the blocks and you're like, okay, we can get some Dripstone blocks and some Dripstone, but the thing is you can already farm pointed Dripstone, so really you're here for the Dripstone blocks exclusively, and again, that was already obtainable, just in smaller quantities. However, the other reason you should care about this biome existing is because of the fact that it has copper in larger quantities than other biomes. It also has drowns in higher quantities than other biomes, but I'm not sure anyone could be excited about that, and to demonstrate that, allow me to show you right now. Wow, look at all of this copper around, and look at how this is such a big vein. That is one of those weird little facts, just to kind of give the, you know, the Dripstone biome something else. But again, personally, I feel like the one cave biome you're actually going for. By the way, side note, even though there are new cave generations, the things that you're gonna be most floored by are things like this. This is technically not a cave biome. This is a biomeless cave. It's new generation that's doing this, which is incredible, and I'd love to talk about how, again, it's shocking to me every time we go in something like this, and it's like, yeah, this is normal now. This is what cave looking around can be like. Also, by the way, look at this dungeon kind of hidden in the corner here. Love to see it, right? And so finally, that brings us into the Lush Cave, the 14th of 14 brand new biomes, although really 8th of 8 brand new biomes in Minecraft. And this is the exciting one. This is the one that makes the cave part of the update worth it, in my opinion, because, you know, again, there's default biome, which is no biome. There is Dripstone, which is, you know, like, it's underwhelming besides the copper, but this is the biome that makes it all worthwhile. This is what is so exciting to me, because obviously you should know from looking at these things that you can find clay. If you mine it with a regular pickaxe, you'll get some clay balls. It's great if you want to smelt these up to make bricks, so bricks are now a lot more useful, but also if you come here with a silk touch pickaxe, maybe not made out of gold, then you can take this clay, you can combine it with maybe a little bit of furnacing and some dye, and you can make hardened clay and you can make glazed terracotta so much easier than you ever could before. Combine it with the easy access to dyes in the overworld, and for real, this is a great update for customization. But here's the thing about Lush Caves you might not know. The Lush Caves have very weird boundaries. They're usually quite circular. However, caves, I guess they're kind of circular in nature, but caves will look something like this, and so it's hard to find Lush Caves that are pretty big sometimes, or, you know, sometimes the cave will lead you in a direction where the Lush Cave will clearly end. As you can see, that's the end of the biome, but maybe you want more Lush Cave. Maybe you want a Spore Blossom, and you're sad you haven't found one. My pro tip, the secret of these Lush Caves, besides obviously all the wonderful things you can do with the unique blocks found here, is that pro tip, don't trust the game when the game leads you in a direction, because the caves will often go a different way. As an example, instead of following the cave that way, let's use some of our moss blocks and our stone blocks and our everything else, and let's climb up to here at the top, because as you can see, there's also some hidden Lush Cave up here, and this will lead you into a much bigger version of that same biome. Look at this. Oh man, it covers all of the mine shaft too. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Spore Blossoms around here, it seems, which is of course it's the only block out of this entire thing that can only be found right here. Minecraft's again, it's arguably the most useless item in this update, but whatever, I don't care. It's better than having no items. The Spore Blossom can be found right here, and you can take it with no silk touch required whatsoever. It's very strange. It's one of Minecraft's very few blocks that takes up more than a block in space. It's got some very neutral effects, and maybe at some point they'll make it useful. But yeah, did you know Lush Caves and mine shafts are amazing? And even sometimes you can find those Spore Blossoms underneath the very mine shafts themselves. I bet you didn't know that. Also, if you're underground and you want to get food, this is one of the very few sources of food you can naturally find, because glowberries are very easy to harvest. You right-click and then the glow goes away and you get some food instead. You probably should know that right now because it's existed in mine shafts for a while, but just in case you're the sort of player who doesn't think, oh, there's a new vaguely useful food, better go find the weirdest places to eat it, then here is a thing you can do. I would realistically say that if you are in a cave, bring food, don't rely on the glowberries because they're not a very good source. They're tricky to get your hands on, and I think though that is the point of caves. They are a challenge. You do need to be prepared for these things because there are lots of threats and there are lots of rewards. The rewards are Spore Blossoms, and you know what? You might not think that's a good enough reward, but I do, and that's why I intend to collect several hundred of these on a live stream later this week. If you don't know, it's Streamless, and so every single day this month, or as many days as I humanly can, I intend to live stream, and yeah, do you want to watch me get some Spore Blossoms and then I know do next to nothing with them because they're near useless. You better believe you do, which is why you can check that out on the YouTube live streaming page. It's very hard to follow it directly, so either turn on notifications as you're subscribed to this channel, or you can follow me on Twitter and turn on notifications right there because I tweet out before I'm about to do a live stream. By the way, worth mentioning that obviously finding lava or water is impossible in any of these biomes. If you want to find water, anywhere up to Y192. And if you want to find lava, just get into this deep slate area of the world and you'll start to see some. By the way, look at the size of this Lush Cave and how we never would have found it if we trusted Minecraft and we followed the signs that it gave me. So pro tip, don't do that. Don't trust Minecraft. Never trust Minecraft. And that is why I'm going to say thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.